This day in time. What happened today, years ago?
Dominance, and now we jump to our final June 22nd event. This one is loaded with meaning, but it's about dominance asserted in a much darker, more psychological way. We're talking about the armistice at Compiègne in 1940. This is right after the period the source calls the phony war ended, and Germany invaded France on May 10th, 1940.
Right. And the source points to some major French strategic mistakes leading up to this. A big one was relying too heavily on the Maginot Line, their fortified border. They were completely blindsided when the Germans just went around it, pushed through the Ardennes forest, which the French thought was impassable for tanks.
And it wasn't just military strategy, was it? The source mentions France was really divided internally, politically, socially, and the economy was exhausted.
Yeah, all that fed into a really rapid military collapse. The French army just crumbled. Paris fell on June 14th, 1940. Prime Minister Reynaud resigned. Marshal Pétain took over, and his first move was basically to ask Germany for an armistice.
And the signing of that armistice on June 22nd, 1940, the Germans orchestrated it for maximum humiliation. The location, deliberately chosen. The forts of Compiègne. Why? Because that was the exact spot where Germany had surrendered to the Allies in 1918, ending World War I. And Hitler insisted they use the very same old railway carriage, Marshal Foch's carriage, where the 1918 armistice was signed. The symbolism is just chilling.
Absolutely chilling. And the source really underlines the psychological weight of it all. Hitler himself turned up for the reading of the preamble, but then he pointedly walked out before the actual signing, left his delegation to finish it. The source calls this explicitly an act of psychological revenge, not just military victory, but turning the tables on the humiliation of 1918.
And the terms signed that day, brutal. The source lays them out. France was literally carved up. Germany occupied about 3/5 of the country. The rest was left under a new French government based in the town of Vichy.
The French army was gutted, reduced to just 100,000 men, barely a defensive force.
And around 1.5 million French soldiers remained prisoners of war in Germany, a massive bargaining chip, a source of leverage.
Plus, France had to pay the full costs of the German occupation. The source estimates this at something like 400 million francs per day. Astronomical.
And sovereignty. The source is pretty blunt. The Vichy government was, for all practical purposes, a puppet serving Germany.
And one particularly nasty term required Vichy to hand over any German citizens living in France that Berlin wanted. The source specifically mentions this included Jewish people and political refugees.
That Vichy government itself, it adopted this whole new ideology, didn't it? What the article calls a national revolution.
Yes, and the source describes this ideology clearly. It was anti-communist, virulently anti-Jewish, dictatorial, and fundamentally collaborationist, submissive to German demands. Its new